Hello and welcome to the second video of the series. In this video we'll see how to install or configure all these wonderful products to actually run this application. Alright, so let me just start my Windows virtual instance. Okay, by the time this loads, let's just recap what we discussed in the last video. Okay, we talked about scalability. That basically means that even under heavy load your application should be able to perform good. We spoke about how to scale, say either you scale vertically or horizontally, and with distributed storage systems scaling horizontally is the biggest strength, and that's what is meant by sharding. So you can add more nodes to the cluster, that is, you increase the capacity of your cluster even in a live production environment, and everything works just fine. Another advantage being that everything would run pretty well on commodity hardware, and that's what most of the cloud providers actually offer you. We spoke about what is meant by cap theorem, that is, when a network partition happens, so you got to make a choice whether you want to be strongly consistent or you want your application to be available. Well, availability is what most of the NoSQL product development is focused about nowadays, because no business can afford even a 10 minutes of outage an year. Alright, so let me see if this has come. Let me just log in. Okay, let me just fire my instance of Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio Web Express. You can use professional or full edition if you have the license, or I think you can use it for, say, first 90 days for free. Anyways, everything works out good for me in Express, so alright. Okay, so let me just load this application now. Okay, so the first thing that you got to do is you either fork this repository, or you say download everything as a zip file. So when you download the zip file, it will download the latest version from the master file, a master branch rather. Alright, so let me just close everything else. Okay, before we get into code, it's about setting up the environment here, and it may take actually some doing. Okay, the first thing you do is you download the latest version of MongoDB, that is 3.01 right now. Let me just go to mongodb.org. Go to downloads. Okay, so since I'm running everything on Windows, go to Windows, and in the versions drop down choose this guy, second one, that says 2000 R2 plus legacy, and download the zip file. We will not go with an installation package. We'll just download a zip file, so it's easy to replace the newer versions as and when they arrive, and I'll show you how that is done. So you download the zip file, then I think I've already downloaded it. Let me just go to this Windows stuff. Yes, I have it here. So wherever you downloaded that, just paste it to your C drive. So the next step you do is, say we got to set up these three products, right? Elasticsearch, MongoDB and Redis. So what you do is you create a folder called MongoDB server. Let me just delete whatever has already been existing and delete this data folder as well. Okay, so you create a folder called MongoDB underscore server, and then you just unzip all of this, or you can directly copy everything to this folder. Say paste. It may take a while depending on the configuration of your machine actually. Alright, so the next step is to run these commands in Windows terminal. So open a command prompt, go to the C drive, just paste these commands. I mean, all this is very much available in MongoDB documentation. They have an extensive and excellent documentation about every feature, how to set up things on various operating systems. So this is for Windows. So what it does is it created a folder called data, and under that it created one more subfolder called DB. This is where all your database files would reside actually. And then it created a log folder. It placed a log file and created a configuration file as well. You press enter. This is the only thing you got to do. And next what you can do is to run this, you can go to bin folder and run this exe. Well, we'll see how this is being run through a batch file. Basically I have created a batch file. What that does is it starts individual instances of, say for Redis it will start one instance, for MongoDB it will start another instance in a console, and for Elasticsearch the same way it starts the another one. Alright, so this is how you set up MongoDB, that's it, nothing else. And for you can actually install it as a service. This is recommended for production environments. I have given all commands and these have been tested and verified in my local box, so they should work for you. Alright, then what we need is you can actually access MongoDB data through something called Mongo Shell, but it's always good to have an admin UI. So a good admin tool is from LaTexSoft called Mongo Management Studio. So you just go to LaTexSoft, and say download. For experimentation purposes, community edition is a good choice, and for your production purposes you can go for professional or enterprise editions actually. So download this Windows guy here, and so this is an exe, it's an installer, so you can just go ahead and install it and it will create something like this for you. This Mongo, it will create a shortcut on your desktop and you can run this. Next is, alright, so for next we'll install RabbitMQ. Well, I have installed it already, so I'll just show you how to go about it. Okay, RabbitMQ is built in Erlang language. Erlang is a language built by Ericsson for handling their concurrency and distributing issues with the telecom domain stuff. So go to erlang.org and you download the 64-bit version for Windows. Alright, on the home page you have a download link, this green one. Then download this guy over here, which says 64-bit binary file. So you would get the Erlang runtime installed on your Windows, and then you go to RabbitMQ.com. Since Erlang is a prerequisite, so you install it first, and then you go to RabbitMQ and download the latest release from RabbitMQ website. Go to downloads page here. It will give you different options for all the operating systems. So go with Windows. It says within an installer, that's what is recommended. Go here and just download this guy. So since this is also an executable, so it's really easy to install it up. Great. Next, okay, so to actually run the RabbitMQ management UI, RabbitMQ ships with a wonderful admin console actually. So what you got to do is, to enable that, you got to go to RabbitMQ console. When you install it, you'll see it in your installed programs. Go to this guy and just paste this command and say enter. That's it. It points me some error, but that's okay because all these things are already set up. And RabbitMQ, as we know, runs on, I mean, each of these products actually run on their own port. Say MongoDB runs on 27017, RabbitMQ runs on this port, which is 15672. Let's just go over there and see how it goes. Let me log out. Okay, this is the first screen you would see. It would ask you for some login credentials. So the default stuff is username is guest and password is guest as well. So both being guest and you login. So it has a beautiful management UI actually, which says how many connections are open right now, how many channels are there, what all exchanges are there, and then those exchanges publish messages to the queue. It has an admin interface to actually adding other users and setting their permissions and other things, which may not be required right now. Alright, so we have set up two products successfully. The same way you go for setting up Elasticsearch engine. So Elasticsearch, as we know, is built in Java, both Elasticsearch and Solr, and both of them are wonderful products. So since it is built in Java, so it would require at least a Java runtime or JDK to run. So what you do is you download JRE or JDK. Say you go to java.sun.com, it will redirect you to Oracle network. I mean, the java.sun.com is what we know from our earlier days as well. So it says download Java SE, download the latest JRE. You can download JDK as well if you wish to code in Java. Alright, so for Windows x64, no, just a minute. Pardon me, let me just use that link directly. I think they keep changing this stuff. Okay. The same thing. Yeah, JRE. I go to JRE, not the server JRE that I went earlier. Pardon me for that. Okay, so for x64, you download the exe. Okay, you must accept the license first. You accepted that, and then you download this guy. Great. So after installing Java, you got to set Java home environment variable. I mean, that's what you do even on Linux systems. So what you do is you go to my computer, say properties, go to advanced system settings, then go to environment variables, the last button at the bottom here, and I have already set it up. You can say new and set Java home, a variable like this, and give it the path to the JRE distribution packages. Alright, next is, since you have installed the prerequisite for Elasticsearch, next is to go for installing Elasticsearch. So go to elasticsearch.org, click on the downloads link here, say download again, and download the latest version. I have mentioned against each product that what version I'm using in this application. Say MongoDB also uses the latest, this version 3 that comes with the wired, a different storage engine, which is called Wired Tiger, was released a couple of weeks back. Then even this is the RabbitMQ version is the latest. Then Elasticsearch is also the latest that is being used. In case, say you're watching this video after say 3 months or 4 months, so the new versions would have come. uh, I bet the code should work, because all these do maintain backward compatibility unless there is a bigger version change. Say say after 3 months, if it comes to be say Elasticsearch 1.5, so since it's in the same series, so things should work out pretty well. Otherwise, you just go to the archives and download that particular version. Alright, okay, so you download the zip file, and as I mentioned in the beginning, that we created 3 folders, right? For the same way we had set up MongoDB server, the same stuff goes with Elasticsearch server. You just paste everything over here and then go to the next step. Next step is to just say Elasticsearch in the console. I mean, you just go to the bin directory and say Elasticsearch, and everything works out. Alright, to install it as a service, that is for production environments, you go like this. And then, okay, so Elasticsearch runs on its own port, which is 9200. Okay, after this we have, oh yeah, we need a good admin UI tool for this. So Elasticsearch Head is a really good one, and it can be set up as a plugin. You just run this command. Say you go to your bin folder and say plugin install, and it will look for this repository over the PPA archives, and then it will install it for you. So this link should give you, let's just see all of them in one shot. Let me just run this application, this batch file rather. What it does is, as we saw earlier, it fires up 3 instances of, one for Elasticsearch, one for MongoDB, and one for Redis server. Great. So now let me just go to the same link that I had mentioned. You can easily bookmark everything, so it's easy to access up. Oh, Elasticsearch might not have started by now. Okay, it's starting. So as soon as it says that it's listening on port 9200, yeah, here it comes. So now they should come. Alright, so if we'll have certain indices and they'll list up all here, then we can fire a few requests. I mean, they could be post, get, put as update, delete as delete. Then there are certain other facilities in this plugin that are essential for any good admin UI tool. All right. So the last one to set up is Redis. Okay, let's just go to Redis home page, that is redis.io. Alright, so you go to downloads. Redis is basically built for Linux systems, but there is a Windows port for that which is maintained by Microsoft OpenTech Group. So it is here. Windows, you say learn more. It will redirect you to the GitHub code repository. Just go to releases and you should see this guy. Just download this Redis zip. Okay, for me there is no need to download because I have already set up all these things. So what you do then is you created a folder for Redis underscore server. Just unzip everything over here, and this exe is what is basically run from this batch file, say redis server.exe, and Redis has its own port which is 6379. So this is how this is the very first thing that you got to do before running this application actually. Alright then, so in the next video I'll demonstrate you how this application actually works, and we'll go through the source code and see how all these wonderful products work in an integrated fashion. Thanks for watching.